Ladies and gentlemen, this is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the BioMaryland booth at the Bio International Chicago 2013. I'm here with Mr. Jeff Lange of Vigilant Bioservices, a private company. Jeff, welcome to SNNLive.
Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it.
Good to have you back.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Tell our audience about Vigilant, please.
Vigilant Bioservices is a private company located in Baltimore, Maryland, and we store critical materials for the biotech and pharmaceutical industries. We also help those companies move those critical materials across the country and around the world at constant temperature in order to support those companies not only with their storage needs but their cold chain support and also the compliance and regulatory aspect that goes along with that.
So we're talking about a pretty large market because you've got all these labs, you've got all these companies that are preserving samples, you've got all of these clinical trials going on, back and forth, hospitals, etc. Am I on target?
You're on target. Yeah, the critical nature of those materials and maintaining the temperature for extended periods of time is really what comes down to making sure that their cold chain is supported. I use the terminology cold chain. It's making sure those products stay at a constant temperature. It's been a lot going on here over the past 2 years where facilities have lost those critical materials, and years of research can be basically lost because the materials aren't stored in a facility that has the critical infrastructure to maintain those temperatures.
How can you ensure that what you just described doesn't happen at Vigilant facilities?
Really comes down to planning and understanding the regulatory environment. We have a very robust infrastructure, not just bricks and mortar, and the redundancies that are in the power system and the server, security, 24-hour monitoring, but also the regulation and compliance efforts that go with a quality assurance system that guarantees that those systems are maintained as appropriate so that you don't have power failures, you don't have units going down, those types of things.
So, from the standpoint of record keeping, you can keep a company's samples for years on end. I mean, because you basically have to, because they may need to go back to the originals. They may need to see what happened to different samples. I'm just curious. I'm asking about that.
I mean, and with certain materials, there's an extra layer of regulatory that goes along with that. We're an FDA-registered tissue bank, for instance, and there are certain infrastructure and quality assurance mechanisms that need to be in place in order to legally be allowed to store human tissue, for instance, both processed and unprocessed human tissue. Yes, long-term sample retains where folks need to go back and test the viability of those materials 2, 5, 10 years down the road. So they need to be maintained at that constant temperature, and you need the documentation to be able to show that took place.
Now, you can also, in your business model, you transfer samples around the world?
We do, and we use a variety of different means to do that based on what the material is. Is it a cell? Is it tissue? Is it an active pharmaceutical ingredient? What are the requirements? And we really, as a company, treat each individual client and, more importantly, their material with the necessary temperature control, the necessary packaging and pack out for that material. And when we're talking about critical materials, those things become very important to maintain that cold chain.
What's your background?
Regulatory and general science.
Good background. Why Maryland?
Why Maryland? Great place to do business in terms of biotech and pharmaceuticals. The workforce development here is really second to none. The educational system, our proximity to BWI Airport, and our relationship with couriers, specialty couriers that specialize in getting materials from point A to point B quickly, reliably, and in a compliant way. Many reasons to be here in Maryland.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a website, and what is your website?
It's www.vigilantbioservices.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Lange, Vigilant Bioservices, a private company. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive. We're at BioMaryland's booth at the Bio International in Chicago 2013. Good to see you.
Thanks
for coming on to SNNLive.
Sure thing. Thanks.